Hey, Junior. Mm, How's it going? Hey, Von Cruel. How you doing? I'm getting through our smoky Canadian sky. Poor Canadians have everything burned up right now. Uh, at least a lot of their forests are on fire, and we're getting the smoke from it. Well, listen. At the end of this morning's discussion, uh, the I think it was Andrew, as a matter of fact, he said, why don't we talk about accessories, watch accessories? And, you know, I think it was a great idea. Hey, Fernando, how you doing? By the way, I found something for you, Fernando. I found an extra hand puller. um, anyway, so I thought would be, let's talk about those. And I'm gonna sort of, I think, for accessories. Hi, Cozy. For accessories, I think I've got a bunch of accessories. You could call them that for watchmaking, but I just want to talk about accessories for watch collectors. What would we possibly use? Hi, William. Hi, Oscar. How you guys doing? So, I was I have some stuff here. I was gonna share with you, but I thought you guys ought to go first. Okay. What accessory do you use the very most, and you think would be a crucial one for just about all watchmakers? Hi, Tim. How you doing? Now, Tim's accessory is a glass of single malts. Neat, but not that kind of accessory. Just the accessory for for watches. What is the number one? If you had to talk about accessories for you, what would it be? Hi, Michael. Does the price of the band you buy be commensurate with the price of the watch? Not at all. I think I have some bands that are worth more than the watches I put them on. So I have a thing. I swear to God, I'm almost like a woman at a shoe sale. There's ABP Concepts Paris. I mean, they've got a lot of really expensive straps, but if they have a sale, God, they had one recently, and there was such a rush that they were all out of the ones that I wanted. I got the email, and so I went there and did all of this stuff, and they were gone. So I don't know. Hi, HRM. Okay, a good watch pod carrying case. Okay, that's a good one. Tim, 2 watch roll from Lucrin. Holy smoke. I happen to have, this is for one watch. Now, if I'm taking a trip and I need 2 watches, I'll wear one and I'll have the other one in here. This one is great. It comes with one of these little things. Now, this is by Lucrin, by the way. It's a Swiss watchmaker. Now, this is the rougher of the 2 kinds of pouches that Larique uses. But you know, let me talk about, since you brought up cases, let me bring up some more stuff about cases. This is a classic roll, okay? This particular one is one by Wolf. They make really excellent rolls. Here's another one, and I don't know who this one is by. Surprise. It's got a bunch of watches in it. I've got watches in places I just don't know about. If I run out of room, I put them in here. This is my Fabre Luba and my looks like a Seiko watches that I have here. Let me turn this one around. There we go. This is a roll. This is a roll. Now let me show you something about this roll. This is by Mirage, a company called Mirage. And let me lock this sucker up. And the good thing about this roll is the bottom is flat. If I go on a cruise or something and I have this, it's rolling around. But this one doesn't roll, but it's pretty big, and the quality of a Wolf roll is really great. But I got to tell you, for multiple watches, I try to keep my rolls down to a minimum because it's just more stuff to carry, and this is why I like my little Lucran roll, and I'll pop my extra watch in there and then have the other one on my wrist. I sort of see it as a 2-watch carrying case. Okay, what else you guys have? A watch box. Oh, excellent. Yes, very much a watch box. I also happen to have a watch box. I can't bring it out. What kind of watch box do you have? Somebody said a good quality spring bar tool. Couldn't agree more. This one is by somebody. There it is. Let me see if I can. Becheron. This one I've had for years. A lot of times, if I buy a band, they give me one of these tools with the band, and so I can, for your spring bar tool. But really important to have a good spring bar tool. $18-year good price for value. Not sure if I can afford the older ones. Okay, let's see, Michael. Let's see. Let me go back, rewind on that one. That was from Oscar's. A back opener, whether it's for screw down or for a press down. Okay, Oscar. Let me come back to those. I would agree with you. Except that sort of goes more into watchmaking. Now, yeah, it's sort of, this is called a friction ball or a sticky ball. The thing that you do with this, you put it against where you have a screw back and you just sort of squish it in there. The thing that's good about this, it doesn't scratch your back of the back of your watch. But sort of if you're going to be taking the back off a lot, I'll tell you, I don't know what kind of back puller that I need for the ones that are the pop off backs. I have one. I tried to take it off, and I've got tools for it. I got probably something you ought to have anyway. I think a case knife, a good case knife, is I think good to have for different things. There's my case knife, and usually you get 2 knives with it. You get this is a case knife itself. It's like sharp on one side, and you're supposed to stick it under and pry it off. I have such a hard time with these things. And the other kind is sort of this big lumpy kind, and you pry it off and you sort of try to get it out that way. But that, I think, is I sort of put that in the watchmaking tools. But yeah, I think they're important to have. Okay, let's see. I bought a Zelos watch before they started shipping their watches in a 3-watch roll. Oh, yeah, okay. Yes. Hang on a second. sometimes I don't know where this one was from. Some of them I just usually leave them in the box, but sometimes they ship them in this, and you can use this as like a put a single watch in it for I guess if you want to have a take an extra watch along with you. But like I said, um, these little pouches are so much easier because they don't take up as much room and they don't roll around. But you know, sometimes they if they come with a a 3 watch roll, you got it made. I bought a keychain spring bar tool, never without it. Well, there you go. There's a man who's ready for anything. He's ready for a sale by APB Paris watches. That's a great idea. I'm gonna. What I had to do is get a switchblade version of a case knife and a tattoo. Andrew Truman, what do you got? I'm still waiting to meet the watch enthusiast who likes a great big fancy watch box from the manufacturer just for the one watch. To me, they just make up space and lack versatility. Andrew, I agree. I got when I got my Vacheron Constantin, not my overseas, but the Historique American 1921. They gave me this it's like a 2-story box, and up here they got a little thing at the top for the box, and they have another big thing, and it comes with a cleaning cloth the size of a beach towel in that thing. They got all this other stuff. Then they have extra room for extra straps and things like that. Man, I tell you, for a watch box, the kinds I like is that they've got little slots and little pillows for all of your watches, and nothing fancier than that. Like I said, I like the ones that Wolf makes because they're good quality stuff. Okay, what else you got here? James, best watch box I have is a Home and Hatfield. Ooh, sounds like a neat one. Love the presentation top and strap storage below. Oh yeah, you got one of I've seen those. Those are really cool. At the top area, and then you got a little drawer underneath. That's a neat watch box. Okay, let's see. Junior, I have a 6 watch box by Wolf. Yeah, I had a really funny thing. My first watch box was a 6 watch box, and this guy I think he was in Georgia or South Carolina or someplace like that, and he said, I'm downsizing. He said, I really want that 6 watch box. I have one for 10. He said, you want to trade? I said, sure. So I sent him the 6 watch box and got back one for for 10. Yeah, he was just downsizing, I guess, and figured that, you'd try to make things a little more compact. A must-have for people that like a perpetual calendar or celestial complications is a watch winder. I got a watch winder. I've had just a sort of a box with a winder in it. Any recommendations on the type? This is something that I mean, the one I have, I'm not even sure how it works. It winds them one way and then the other way, and then you're supposed to set it depending on some table you're supposed to look up somewhere else. And since I'm not into automatics that much, but for celestial, he's especially a complicated celestial. When I got my 2 moon Parmigiani loon, I set that thing up, but it's so easy to reset with the little poker thing they gave me, so I don't keep it in. I took it out of the winder. I don't know. I've read a lot of stuff about don't keep your watch in an automatic, and other ones keep your watch in the winder. I don't know. I honestly don't know, and especially since I'm not into to the automatics that much. But if you're going to have one, get a good one. I agree with that. Von Cruel, let's see, what do you got? I have a 12 slot box and a 10 slot. My real collection lives in a 12 slot, and the 10 slot is for G-Shocks and homemade. That's funny, Von Cruel. Mine too. There's sort of I have a status hierarchy. There's the top one, and then the second one. And lately, I've been moving them around because I got. And then, as you saw, when I opened up the thing, I didn't even know I had them there, and that was keeping them in that box. You sort of get ones that maybe I better put them somewhere. And then I got another box. I was sent this box with some to review, and so I reviewed the watches in the case. They sent me like a glass case. Well, I had to send it back to China or Singapore, someplace like that. It was going to cost me a fortune in the box, but if I put them in these little travel things, it wasn't going to cost too much. So I asked the guy, I said, let me keep the box, and then I'll send your watches back to you. He said, okay. So I ended up with a free 3-watch box. It's actually more than 3, it's 6, kind of think of it. Okay. Hi, Ed. Let's see. Collapsible loop keychain. Oh, how cool. That does sound like a neat thing. Examine friends with fake watches. I don't. I have the wrong kind of friends. They don't have fake watches. That'd be sort of a cool thing to look at, though. HRM. One incredible watch accessory is the Jaeger-Perregaux multi-tool pocket knife. Okay, yeah, that does sound an official watchmaking tool. Sounds good. Sounds very good. Oscar. But those wolf cases are expensive. Yeah, I agree. A case for, let's say, 12 watches could be easily 400. Yeah, they could also be a lot less than that too, fortunately. Maybe it's some of the dealers that I see. I have to meet them at a street under an unlit corner at night. They're my source of watch boxes. No, Wolf watch boxes. I don't know. I use a watch box all the time because I'm always rotating my watches in and out. You might as well get a good one. I mean, Oh, I'll tell you something. I got them over here, but pull them out. In addition to getting a cloth, and I've got watch cloths all over the place. In fact, I had got so many of them, I had to put a special drawer open just for the extra one. But get some gloves, some watch handling gloves, because if the oils and everything from your hands can get in and tarnish tarnish your watches if you're handling them a lot. I got a pair of black ones. And the reason I got black ones is that I saw this guy from Vacheron Constantin, and he had black ones on. But I've seen different colored ones, and you can also, I guess, get them with your favorite watch brand on them. But I think they're really handy to have. Usually, I can just handle. Let's see, do I have any here? I guess not. I put them all in a watch box. That's another thing too. I think it's important that to store them correctly. By the way, here's another. This is a little one. A few years ago, a bunch of us had this Rolf Lang watch we passed around, and this was one of the polishing classes that came with it. Okay, let's see what else you guys have. Michael, have a burger on eyepiece. Okay. Eyepieces, if you're going to get an eyepiece, I would say about 4 or 5X, very at the outside of 10. Anything beyond that, I got one, I think, for 50. It's like way too much. This one I got, and by the way, this is another accessory that I would recommend to everyone. This particular one has got a little, I guess, feels like Velcro or something up at the top. This is from the Horological Society of New York. They're overpriced. They're very expensive, $60 for, pretty simple one, but it's a nice one and it works and everything. But this is another accessory I think everyone ought to have who collects watches. One, they should have a membership in a Horological Society of New York, not just for the workshops and the lectures. You can get the lectures online anywhere. I mean, all over the world for members. But the other thing you get with it is you get a subscription to the Europa Star. Let me see if I can put that in the right place. So Europa Star. This particular issue has something, The Mysteries of Time, a scientific report, which is really a very interesting article. If you have a Patek Philippe, be sure to get the Patek Philippe magazine. Even though I don't have mine anymore, I still get the magazine and plans on getting a pre-2009 Patek Philippe. Here's another thing. This is something that I do use on occasion. This is a part of a thing called a loop system. And the loop system is, I don't know where they're from, but it's a really, super special loop. But the thing I like about it, you can get these little clips with them, and you slip the I have to take the top off. You have to take the top off, and then you just slip it in here like this, and then you clip it on the back of your phone, and you can take really good close-up pictures with it. So that's another thing. But they're really expensive, so I can't, $60 for a loop. I'm complaining it's expensive. Don't even look at the loop system prices. They're crazy high. One other thing, I guess, if you're like me and you wear glasses, a couple things here. You get a little thing that you can clip on your eyeglasses, just real simple like that, boom. And you're all set to go to town on that. What I do is that I have a fairly complex but very good eyeglass holder version. And what I do is that whenever I get a new prescription on my glasses, I just take the old glasses and just put them on and leave them on. They don't have to fool around with it, putting it on and off. And it's all ready to go if I want to take a quick look. That's, I guess it's sort of, that looking closely at your watch. I mean, yeah, at your watch or your movement or something. It's funny. I don't remember ever looking to see whether it's fake or not. Something happened the other day. This guy that I know bought a Van Cleef and Arpels with the Agenor movement in it. And it came with no papers and no nothing. And he was a little nervous about it. He said, what should I do? And he said he contacted Van Cleef and Arpels, and they would, verify it for him and everything else. And it would cost him $2,000 and take 6 months. I told him, don't do that. Contact not Van Cleef and Arpels, but the movement maker. Just contact Agenor and talk to them and say, hey, does this thing look real? And they'll tell you right off the bat. So that's what I did. And they said, no one's going to try to, that movement is so complex. This is the one with the double time jumping hours and the retrograde minute. And then the platinum micro rotor. That watch is beautiful watch. And so the guy just took some pictures and I sent them to Agenor. Oh yeah, it's one of ours. No one's going to try to fake that. But this is one thing you can do. when I first got my Patek Philippe, I contacted Patek Philippe and I said, what do I need to get the archives? And it was about 100 and something bucks, and I don't know if they still do it, but boy, that's another quote accessory that you might want. Okay, let's see what else you guys have. Vintage watches. That even very old watches do have a screw down case back. Aren't most watches more accurate with power reserve of 28% full? So putting them in automatic on a winder time will lose accuracy. I don't know. I tell you, I just don't know. One thing I did find out, one of my watches, I wasn't sort of getting picked up in a rotation, and it's a watch I really like, but it got ignored and it wasn't running right. You should, whether it's hand wound or whether it's automatic, you should give them a good wind at least, every fortnight, every 2 weeks at least, if not every week. That I think is important to do to make sure that your watch is, stays healthy, because what it'll do is take all of the lubrication and mix it around and everything. Rolf Lang stopped making watches. That's a long story, okay? About whether he has or not, I don't know. Rolf sort of, he does what he wants to do. He moved to, he's got a place on the border almost on the Czech border right outside of Dresden. And he's got this neat place. I went through his place with him one day, and my God, it's just amazing. And everything is done by hand. It's really a very cool place. But then he decided to get a place in Bulgaria. He's able to pick up look like a little farm or something. I don't know. I haven't talked to him for a while. I got to contact him. Oscar, let's see. Another tool you need is a good press to replace the glass. If you're taking a watch away, yeah, you do need that if you're gonna take your watch apart for you. Radzia, I've seen him in other places making clocks. He made this incredible clock that was it was based on the John Harrison chronometer, and but I haven't seen anything else. He sent me a design of this woman's watch he was making for this outfit. Unbelievable. I mean, he just like whipped up the design for the movement and everything. He sent it to me. He said, "What do you think of that?" I said, we should make one for guys. That's cool. Yeah, it was like looking at Chanel. Chanel, when they made the Monsieur Chanel, they went to Romain Gauthier, and then they have this special movement making place in La Chaux de Fonds. So they've got all of this, and then they own a hunk of Kinnessy with Tudor, and they're doing name, but they have this other one where they make their special movements. I thought, oh boy, a bunch of new cool movements. Well, they did. They came out with all of these cool movements, and I was looking at them. Thought, whoa, these things are amazing. But they were all for women's watches. They've got one of their special calibers for the men's watch, and the rest of them are all for women's watches. And I think they're up to like 6 calibers now. Let's see. Junior, I use a magnifying glass with a light on it I bought at the auto supply store. I don't know what in the world you do with a magnifying glass. I use them all the time for one thing or the other. This one's got this one needs cleaning again. This one's got a double thing right here if I want a quick close-up. and instead of a loop, it's it can be a handy thing. You just want to check something really quickly, and with a light on it. I don't know, mine doesn't have a light on it. Geez, I guess that's something the rich kids have. They have one with a light on it, like Junior. Hang on a second, let me get this thing all cleaned up. My, but that's another one, Junior. I agree, man. Having one of those things is great. Yeah, Von Krul. Although I do think anyone who's really into mechanical watches should consider learning to regulate them. I agree. I agree. That's another reason that I like the hairsprings made from transitional metals rather than the what are they called, metalloids, that silicon and arsenic and some of those other chemicals that that belong to the metalloid class. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I tell you, you have to take the case back off, and I never like doing that. But if you got to do it, you got to do it. Um, and the tools for doing that, you need a good screwdriver, and man, a way not to lose one of the screws. I can't tell you how many times I've taken those off, and the screws all of a sudden, through a loop, they look like a telephone pole. And once you take the loop off, the things look like a BB. But yeah, and then a toothpick to me, is what I use for regulator. They have, the things, what are they called? Pegwood sticks. I got a bundle of pegwood sticks, and those are always good to have too when you're messing with the movement and stuff. Hi, William. How you doing? Uh, hey, Angus. How you doing? Wait a minute. That's not Angus. That's Agnes. Hi, Agnes. Some brands like JLC will charge for the paper to extract. The paper to extract? My God. I tell you, a company that I like is Longines. When I got my equation of time watch from, it was used also, and it came with no box, no nothing. And so I wrote to Longines and I said, "Do you guys happen to have?" And it's a complex watch to set and everything, and to read. I said, I said, "Do you have the, maybe a PDF file or something?" Man, they sent me a PDF file in, I think, about 6 or 7 different languages. They're a great outfit. Dealing with part of it is finding the right person. When I was working on getting information on this one watch, the watch was by Harry Winston, but the movement was by Girard-Perregaux. Well, I contacted this guy that we had been on similar chat groups, I guess. And man, I tell you, he helped me immensely. Even found the original Girard-Perregaux uh, uh, rotor with the Harry Winston logo on it, those kinds of things. So if you can, try to find somebody helpful in the organization. Usually if you put, like info at Rolex, something like that, it doesn't help too much. But some of these companies, you sort of try to see if you can find a name with an email address or something and say, hey, would you mind doing this? I think 20 to 80% wine is a good zone. Yeah, that's okay. Extract from the archives, but they say adamantly it is not a certificate of authenticity. Yeah, they do say that. But you got to come up with. I had the hardest part that I had coming up with was the ID of the movement, and once I got that, they were pretty good with it. What I did, I went to the Patek Philippe place in Rockefeller Center in New York, and I went to the parts place there, and I went to get I had to get gold spring bars. Those were about $60 a piece for a gold spring bar because I was told if you have a gold watch, get gold spring bars because the metal ones are harder than gold and they'll gouge a hole. So I go there, and we had to. My God, we had to go through all of this stuff to get to the place. And so once I was there, I asked him. I said, I'd like to get the spring bar tools, but would you mind doing me a favor and taking the back off and taking a picture of it? And they did. And so I had a good picture which I could then send into the archives. A lot of things work out well. Uh, IIRC, the tendency is to run a bit slower at the top of amplitude and a bit faster at the low end. Okay, von Krull. So, for example, you can have an ETA Actratron style regulator and silicon hairspring. I don't know. I know how a hairspring made from transitional metals. They simply if you make it shorter, it runs faster. If you make it a little longer, it runs slower. I'm not sure how the whole business works with I don't have the skill set to mess with the balances on the balance wheel, all those little weights. You can take a screwdriver and do that. The ones that have 4 screws, one on each arm of the balance, you can try it, I guess. If you have a watch that may not work quite the same. I don't know. Andrew, actually, that's something I don't think anyone has mentioned. A decent set of screwdrivers. Yeah, I agree with that. You need a decent set of screwdrivers. I think the good thing about it. Hang on a second. Well, anyway, yeah. This one and this one. These are the ones you may notice or not. They're both color coded. This one's got a light blue, and this one is purple. And depending on the color, will tell you the size. And if you're going to do anything, even taking the back off, you want to be sure that the width of your screwdriver tip is the same as the screw. You can mess up you can also mess up a screwdriver if you put in a smaller one into a bigger slot, because sometimes they're a little wider than you think, and then you twist it and you end up twisting the tip. So it's important to do that. The other thing is that I was told there's absolutely one way to hold a screwdriver, and that's like this, and then turn it like that. Rather than some other way. Here's another one too. That there's the two that I would recommend starting off with is the purple neck and the red neck. The reason for that is that if you're playing with a 6498, which is a great movement to start playing with, especially one by Siegel, which is a knockoff. Because the reason I suggest that is that if you start losing stuff and parts start flying off and things like that, it's not gonna cost you as much as getting a real one. Oops. Yeah, getting a set of screwdrivers, a good one, a good set. I have a full set, but like I said, it's for the most part it's the red and purple one that I use. The purple one is for the case. You see which is that for? There's the screws that you screw in for. I'm trying to think what they screw it into. Uh, Trying to think what they lock. I think they lock it to the case. Not sure. But the one that's important is the little red one because you'll find all kinds of screws, like the screw for loosening the stem and pulling it out so you can put the movement in and then putting that back together. Uh, but if you want to get a whole, I got one of those wheelies, little wheel thing full of them. But like I said, when I took my first watchmaking class, well, actually, the one I had with the Horological Society of New York, the only two they had, they just had us use a red one and the purple one. And I think that was all we used. Anyway, yeah, you're right though. You want to get good ones too. The other day, I needed work. I had to do some work on my red one. I'd used it so much that the tip got sort of chingered up, and I have a special stone that I have to sand it down with and straighten it out. And so I had another one that came free with one of my straps or something. So I pulled it out. My God, I tell you what, a cheap screwdriver thing looked like made out of lead. It was not very good. So yeah, getting a good. I mean, if you're gonna just get two, just get the red and purple one, and I think you'll be okay for most part. David, let me see. There's a company called Sutcliffe Hansen that sells all sorts of toolkits from $75 to $8.95. One of the owners is a YouTube watch restore. Ha! Okay, David, thanks for that tip. The name of the company is Sutcliffe. Yeah, they sound like good ones. They really do. Von Krul, all right. It needs to be free sprung if it's silicon. That's right. They do have that one with the blade on it for Omega, but okay, what else you got? Yeah, an Arkansas stone. Yeah, that's what I've got. And there's a Bergson 2461 for sharpening your screwdrivers. Ultrasonic cleaner. Oh boy, I just bought an ultrasonic cleaner, and you don't want to put the watch in the ultrasonic cleaner, but you might want to put the bridges and once you got it apart, once you take it all apart, then you can put the whole thing in an ultrasonic cleaner. One I got is it's really funny because they say you shouldn't use it more than twice because of the I don't know what it'll do. How we doing on time? Oh my God, I'm way over time. Okay, guys, I better bolt. Anyway, let me take up some last ones here. Forbin, I recommend WIHA screwdrivers made in Germany. You can buy them individually, but know the size in millimeters. Bergeron is color coded, but so much pricier. Okay. Yeah, the ones I got were pricey. I agree. Anyway, guys, take care and hasta la vista.